My boyfriend had trio with my sister and best friend. Last week I found out my boyfriend had a trio with my best friend and sister in my apartment while I was fast asleep in the next room. This happened about 2 weeks prior. My best friend decided to come clean as she felt bad about it. However, she also told me after they got finished, my boyfriend and sister jumped into the shower together, and according to her they did it again in the shower all while I'm still asleep in another room. My sister had asked her to join in again, but my best friend said no and went to sleep. Since finding out, I've cut off my boyfriend and my sister, but to know if I can keep my best friend in my life. Although she finally came out about it and showed remorse, I'm still hurt that she made love with him, and don't know if I could trust her again. I confronted my sister and boyfriend, and they originally denied it but have since told the truth, that they had made love twice. Although I suspect it's been more than that, I believe now they were getting together constantly during our relationship, but they claim it was only twice. I can't believe they acted totally normal the following morning, like nothing had happened. My best friend was acting strange, but I thought nothing of it. Anyways, my sister had reached out to me through a fake account, and instead of an apology or showing remorse for what she did, she said since I didn't want a relationship with her anymore, she may as well go ahead and be in a relationship with my now ex. She then proceeded to tell me how my ex told her that lovemaking was better with her, and how he thought she was the hotter sister, and even told me they did it in the rear in the shower. She's disgusting. My boyfriend has also tried reaching out to me begging for me back, but a family member informed me yesterday that my sister has tagged my ex in a relationship status on Facebook and put a picture of them together as her profile picture. Even uploaded a picture of them in bed together. He was half exposed and so was she, but the disrespect is insane. I'm heartbroken and will never speak to my sister again. Now what should I do with my best friend? Should I continue my friendship with her or cut her off too? I need help, please. Update: my husband wants me to terminate my baby with my one-night stand, and everyone seems to agree with him. Hi, I want to tell you that I have now filed for divorce from my husband. When he got the papers, believe it or not, he kicked me out of our home, so now I rent a small attic room at one of my senior co-workers. She and her husband live alone and they're very tidy and clean. I love that she did this for me because she doesn't rent out rooms otherwise, but she simply just felt sorry for me. My family shut the door in my face. Initially I thought that they were just disappointed that my marriage was over because they loved my husband like a son, but now I don't know if I can make any more excuses for them. They know I have been kicked out of my home and that I have spent some weeks sleeping on my friends' couches until I found this room that I can call mine, yet no one felt that now it was time to reach out a helping hand. I'm now looking for my own place to buy. These things take time in my country. I've learned a hard lesson, that everything can turn on its head in a matter of weeks and you become homeless, and the people you thought were your safety net, well, they're just cobwebs. One Night Stand and I are still dating, and I think we are falling hard for each other. He thought I was unnecessarily stubborn not to have moved in with him when I got kicked out like garbage, but how could I? If we are ever to succeed as a couple, I need to be with him from a place of equality. Only then we could know if this is love, pure love, and not dependence and convenience. He thinks I'm crazy thinking like that, but he respected my wish. My husband is refusing to sign the divorce. He has sent me 4 emails. I read one line from his first email. How did we end up like this? I stopped reading after this. I asked my lawyer to send him an email that moving forward, the only mean of communicating with me is via my lawyer and her email. He still sent one more email. Maybe not very cheerful update, but don't worry about me. I feel happy and free and so excited for my next chapter as a mother, and hopefully with One Night Stand by my side. I love him.
I'm divorcing my wife because she has been late for 90% of everything we have ever done together. Everyone we know is shocked and confused, but I don't care. No, I'm not having an affair. No, I'm not having a midlife crisis. No, I'm not looking for a younger woman. No, I'm not hiding anything. My wife and I have been together for 12 years. During this time she has not made even the slightest amount of effort to be on time for anything we did. When we were dating, average wait times were 15 minutes to an hour for her to finally effing show up. I waited because I loved her. After marriage she somehow got worse, and after childbirth, she got even worse. She used to blame circumstances for being late every time, but now she just blames our son. I put up with it because I loved her. Example 1. We're currently looking at preschools. We're 15 to 30 minutes late for each meeting because the thing we need most in our lives is for the teachers to believe our son is chronically going to be late for school. It's always something with her. Example 2. I wanted to see a movie in theaters a while ago. She wanted to come too. I had to leave her in a clothing shop because I was going to miss the start of the movie. Of course she was livid. Example 3. A few months ago, we went to see a concert of a group she likes. We were an hour early because of course we were an hour early. It was something that she wanted to do. I'm so sick and tired of it. Dinner reservations are always a toss-up because restaurants in our area have no chill and will cancel your reservation if you're a minute late. Growing increasingly anxious as she stares at her effing phone and trying to ask her in the nicest way possible to hurry up is a horrible feeling. Especially since she will flip her lid the second that I try to tell her we're going to be late. Meeting up with friends, going to a children's event with our son. Even trying to take a walk is always an ordeal of trying to get her to put the goddamn phone down and get ready so I don't have to stand there like a dummy. I think my boiling point was last week when I stood at the entrance of our house for 20 minutes with our son, as he grew increasingly impatient, and then seeing she had abruptly decided to start vacuuming the house. I'm getting spammed with calls from mutual friends and family. She went and told everyone that we're getting divorced. Everyone wants to talk me out of it. I just broke after years of patience. I have no regrets. My dad left money to his sugar baby in his will. It feels wrong to be writing this so early after my father's passing, but I'm confused on and upset on a lot of different levels, and I really need to talk about it. My dad passed away fairly early on. He was 66 and his funeral was last week. He planned his own funeral preemptively, with my oldest sister. It was prepaid for and I hadn't known much about it. I'm the middle child, 37 male. They deliberately hadn't told the rest of us much about it because an S-worker who my dad had been seeing consistently for years would be attending, and we hadn't even known my dad saw S-workers, or that he was attracted to men. That guy is a year older than me, and apparently he'd been seeing him since he was 18, so, I would have been 17, while my father was making love with a guy 1 year my senior. I'm really not sure how I'm supposed to feel about it. My dad had been paying his rent for that time, along with an allowance and a few investments into his career. He's now a kind of performer, but I think it would be too oddly specific to mention, and people who know any of us would know exactly who I'm talking about. My mother knew. We spoke about it and I asked why she didn't tell me. They were divorced anyway. Apparently they'd agreed between them not to tell the rest of us besides my sister, but specifically not me because of my age. They said that my dad was insistent that he had to be at the funeral, and included in it. He looked genuinely upset too. I think it was a little inappropriate that all attention was on this glamorous P-word. More than my deceased father, but now I can't shake this feeling that I'm angry with my father either. Back to the will. He left him something like 2 million euros, which was more than anybody else in his life, more than me or any of my siblings, more than my aunts and uncles or their children, more than his grandchildren, more than anybody, and there's no case really to dispute it, because he was of sound mind and he didn't forget anybody. I'm just so unsure how to feel, that age gap.
I found my exposed pictures on my brother's PC. About 2 months ago now my brother passed away. It has devastated my family and we have been slowly putting ourselves back together. My mom has finally got to the point where she is comfortable going through his belongings that got sent to us from his flat, and she gave me his PC among other bits to take a look at and see if I could do anything with it. I know a fair bit about computers, so I thought I would set it up to see what still worked. It booted up fine, and to my surprise he didn't have a password on it. He lived on his own, so I guess he never needed to keep anyone out. Out of a sort of morbid curiosity I opened the browser. I thought I could maybe see some of the last things he was looking at towards the end, and I saw a link to his Google Photos in his favorites bar. I thought this was an amazing chance to get back some of the photos we might have never seen. Get some photos of his friends and adventures he'd been on over the years. On the side I saw his albums and one of them had my name on it. In this album was a ton of my exposed pictures, videos and screenshots of some of my Instagram posts and stories. I didn't go through it for long, but it was a massive amount. I have no idea how he got hold of them or why the heck he'd been collecting them. I used to be in a long-distance relationship with my ex who loved me sending him pictures and videos, but there's no way he would have sent them to my brother. Now I don't know what to do, which is why I'm posting it here, I guess. I can't tell anyone. I now feel so different about him and I don't understand why he would have done this. Was he attracted to me? Did he get off to these? Or was it just some sort of compulsion he had? I'm a mix of disgusted and devastated and I just don't know how to move on from it. I keep feeling a need to go back and look how far back this collection goes, but I know I shouldn't.
Today I messed up by using Punnett squares to implode my family. So this happened just over a decade ago. I was a dorky 14-year-old high school kid who was really into sciences, and I honestly still am. At this point I was in biology, and the teacher just did a really fascinating unit on dominant and recessive alleles and how Punnett squares can be used to determine a lot of traits with information from your parents and grandparents. I was just fascinated with these squares, and I decided to do some homework and use one to determine what blood type I had, since I was young and at that point I didn't know. So I start doing my homework, and find that dad is recessive O, which means his parents are irrelevant since dominant genes can't skip generations. Mom is B, so I call up her very elderly parents to do some sleuthing. Grandma answers and confuses me, saying that she is A, grandpa is O. That shouldn't be right, I thought. So I ask again and she reiterates that it's all correct and she's been to enough doctor's appointments that she knows. Then I ask the stupid question, but where did mom's B type come from then? Grandpa's O wouldn't allow a recessive, and you're just A. She gets annoyed with me and says basically that I must not have understood the lessons from school as well as I thought. Bummed, but figuring she was right, I dropped it and didn't think much of it. Apparently grandma did, because she started agitating for my mother to come visit her and my grandfather, and eventually mom did over a long weekend. It was all nice and well. Mom apparently enjoyed getting visit with them. Then, about an hour before mom was supposed to get in the car and start on home, grandma came in and sat both of them down. She then proceeded to confess to having at least 4 long-running affairs over her 50-plus year marriage, and that my mother was one of their children. Mom was absolutely devastated, as was my grandfather. They reiterated to each other that as far as they were concerned they loved each other as father-daughter, but they both kind of stopped talking to grandma. For years, for my mother, she also became estranged from her siblings, who all apparently were quite certain that she wasn't my grandfather's biological child. Mom showed up back home, almost inconsolable, because decades of lies and deceptions. When she finally told my father and me, I immediately connected the dots on why grandma has chosen now to bring it up. I felt awful, because at that point, I'm inclined to think this is one of those secrets that dear old granny should have taken to her grave. Mom and grandpa stayed close, and she and her mother eventually had some reconciliation, but they've not been as close as they once were. Mom also reconciled with her siblings, and forgave them. My grandparents themselves have stayed together. I never found out how the two of them handled it between them.
People who've almost been abducted. What's your story? When I was 12, I was playing alone outside my house. I noticed a car circling the neighborhood. Soon afterward, the man who was driving the car stopped about 50 meters away from me, wound down the window, and gestured me over. I felt strange but didn't think too much about it and approached his car. Him, hi there, do you live around here? Me, yes him, great. I'm actually a little lost. Could you tell me the nearest way to 20th Street? Me, oh, just go straight this way and then turn right once you come to a T-junction. How hard can this be, right? Him, I'm a little confused. Do you mind hopping in and showing me the way? I'll bring you right back afterward. I was a little hesitant but said yes nevertheless. The moment I got into his car and he locked the doors, that was when my heart raced. I realized just how dumb I was and what a ginormous mistake I had made. It was too late anyway. So I sat in the front seat and prayed for the best. I directed him to the place he wanted to go to, and instead of taking me back home, he accidentally missed a turn and took me to the next neighborhood, which was about 2 to 3 kilometers away. He eventually stopped his car next to an abandoned building, saying that we would get down, and I would help him look for something in the building. I was scared. So I just obliged. He then told me that the door on my side was faulty and that it could only be opened from the outside. He said I could only get out through his door. Instead of opening my door for me from the outside or stepping out of the car so I could exit easily from his side, he sat in the driver's seat the whole time. This meant at some point of trying to get out, I would be sitting on his lap. The worst part was he kept the doors locked longer than he should have, enjoying every moment. Eventually, he let both of us out, led me into the building, and started holding me so close. To say that I was terrified was an understatement. Before he could do anything else, I ran out of there as fast as lightning. I just bolted, didn't even look back, and ran all the way home. Boy, did I run. To this day, I'm so thankful that he did not tie me up or have me in a way that I wasn't able to escape. If I hadn't escaped, God knows what would have happened to me. I've never told a single soul about this incident my whole life.